far, you have impressed or not?
Going back to December, I had a very impressive performance then. Talk to me about that victory and just how much it meant for you to get a win after the losses.
Well, I feel, in my last fight, I feel like so great, like get that W, get that win. But I'm still excited for this fight.
Nice. And then, of course, you were supposed to come back earlier this year, but you had the weight miss. Hadn't had a chance to speak to you since then. So just tell us what happened.
Well, I fight almost for 2 years, so 1 year and a half in 155. And when I tried to drop it to 145, it was super hard. And 2 weeks before to get my fight, I was sick. I'm thinking like it was COVID, but not. And when you get sick, it's hard to drop in weight, right? And like UFC and the matchmaker, everyone knew that. But well, I say like, oh, okay, I want to try to do my best, right? Like try to drop to 146, but I speak before, like 2 or 3 weeks before, like, hey, if I can drop, we can do a catch weight. And in the beginning, it was say that the other guy said no, but that day he said yes, and he stepped in the scale 146. These things happens a lot.
I was going to ask, I mean, obviously it's your job to make weight, but we don't see very often where the other fighter says, okay, I'm not fighting. So what did you think? I mean, I guess you're wrong, so it's your fault in a way, but were you upset that he didn't take the fight?
Well, I know it's my mistake because I miss weight. I'm a professional, right? I need to make weight. But I was mad. I was angry because before he said yes, everything was like the fight goes on, But after that, he say, I don't know what happened in his mind. I don't know. He thinks like he not his best choice for his career. I don't know. Like every head is a war.
Yeah. So we know that you had the illness and everything, but was there any talk of, hey, let's just stay at lightweight, or did you feel comfortable immediately saying, no, I'm a featherweight?
No, I want to fight in both weight class. But my main, I want to fight in 145. Okay, that's my main. And if someone like they always drop fights. Yeah. Hey, they can say like, hey, Mowgli, I have this opening in 155. You want to take it? Of course, it's about this, right?
Nice. Did you have to talk to the UFC about staying at featherweight? Were they concerned at all, or did they have no?
They know. I want to fight in 145 and 155,
right.
Both times.
So this week, no issue at all.
No, I'm ready.
Nice. Talk about the matchup. What do you think about Billy as an opponent? What do you think about the fight?
I know it's a tough opponent, and it's gonna be a fun fight to watch.
very nice. And I guess is the goal just victory, or do you feel like you need to make a statement or prove to people anything? What's the goal here?
My goal is get that win. That's it.
Hi.
I,
So this fight isn't exactly short notice, but you weren't the original opponent. Do you feel like this is a little bit rushed for you, or do you feel like you had enough time?
I feel good. I feel great because like in my last fight, I prepared for everything. Like even this fight, I prepared for everything, and I'm ready to go.
So was this opponent somebody that you had your eye on, or when this matchup came up, was it just a new idea for you, or was he somebody that you had wanted to fight?
Like what?
Was he somebody that you had your eyes on? Is it an opponent that you had wanted to fight at some point?
No, like everyone say like he's a good opponent because he always go forward like my kind of my style, but I know he's better in the ground. Like it's good for both.
Thank you.
Right over here. Mowgli, obviously from Mexico. Mexico finally has their first UFC champion. What was it like for you to watch Brandon Moreno win?
Well, like not like me, like everyone that is Mexican, they feel like super proud about him. Yeah.
What did you think of Irene Aldana's performance a couple days ago with the knockout?
She's really strong for that weight class, and she's good. She do his strategy like very well because I see like couple videos like when she started doing the warm up, he throw the same hook and like everything's like work.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Cool. Awesome. Thanks, sir.
Question mic, question mic. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. Hey, hey, 1, 2, 3.
guess the final fight week here. What's the film? Are you soaking it in? Are you taking more time? Does it feel any different than another fight week?
Everything's happening so fast. Everything is coming full force. And I am taking it in. I'm just like, you know what, let me just enjoy each moment, really think about every question, really answer wholeheartedly, stuff like that.
Nice. What made you come to the conclusion that now it's finally time? We're definitely called off? Because you could look phenomenal, fantastic, have the best fight of your career. And then
I'm going to. I'm going to look
So
phenomenal.
what made you make the decision?
So back when I signed my 4-fight contract, I knew at the end of that I'd be about 43, 44 years old. And I was like, everybody keeps asking me, when are you going to retire, when you're going to retire? And in my head, I'm like, that's when I'm going to retire. And if the UFC allows me, I want to finish out on my own terms. I would like to finish out my contract. And it was one of those things that I was just like, just every fight, go in and, put on a show for the fans, put on a show, get the win, obviously. I didn't tell anybody. I didn't tell my husband. I didn't tell my coach. I just knew. I put it in the back of my head, and I just knew. And after my last fight with Macy, I called up my manager. He's like, what, no? And I'm like, no, dude, this is it. He's like, did you tell Mondo? I'm like, no, he's hearing it for the first time, who is my husband. And he's like, really? And I'm like, yeah, this is it. This is it. And 3 days later, hey, you ready? And I'm like, okay, who you got? And they said, Miesha. I'm like, okay, let's run it.
That's awesome. So as you sit here right now, I mean, it sounds like it played out all according to your plan, but as you sit here, I mean, are you still at peace with that decision? Is there even a part of you that says, I love this ride, I'm not ready to give it up yet?
No, I'm good. I am good. I'm telling you right now, I am looking forward to not stepping on the scale again. I am looking forward to eating whatever I want. I am looking forward to being less obsessive about being in the game. I completely threw my whole entire self into mixed martial arts 15 years ago when I first started, and I didn't stop. I didn't stop for nothing, for nobody, not a reunion, not a death in the family, not a party, not a family nothing. I obsessed. I was like, no, I have to train. And I think it'll be a little rewarding to be less obsessive, because I'm pretty sure I'll find something else to obsess about.
Would you have changed anything? Would you have done things any differently?
No. Everything came full circle the way it needed to be. I think everything happened the way it needed to for a reason, and it's led me to this.
That's awesome. We'll talk about the matchup with Miesha, obviously a former champion, legend in the game. What do you think about getting her as your farewell fight?
I think that's a great opportunity. I think the way the UFC wrote it out, you can't write this any better. Here you have one coming in, here you have one going out. So I think I think the way they did it, just bam, there you go, just for you guys.
Nice. What are you expecting from her? I think everybody's trying to figure out, right? Obviously, she's been away for over 4.5 years. So, how do you prepare for somebody like that? Do you look at her vintage tape, or do you expect something different? I mean, what are you expecting out of her?
There's not a lot we know. Obviously, we don't know in the past 5 years if she's been training, if she's been doing what she needs to do. So what I expect from her is I expect her to come all out. I expect her to try to make a point. I'm ready for this division, and that's where I'm going to have to stop her, because I want to make an exclamation point on finishing my journey, not a period. I want to make an exclamation point saying, hey, I'm going out with this.
Nice. And my final question, I think you kind of touched on it there, like what is the goal? I mean, obviously to get your hand raised, but is there some kind of statement that needs to be made, or some kind of perfect scenario to walk away?
The statement is basically, I was not an easy fight for anybody by any means, and that statement is, ladies, here we go. Have fun. You have the rest of your life. You're young. I don't want to hear nobody say that they are too old, that they can't make weight. I don't want to hear I don't want to hear none of that. Ladies, get it together. Get obsessive. Get obsessive about your career. Do what you need to do. Put an exclamation point on it, and your name. That's your name. That's your reputation.
Over here.
Hi.
I want to ask, I see this on Wikipedia, I want to know if it's true. You were originally denied for The Ultimate Fighter when you were first getting in?
I was 36 years old, and I had passed through to the second day, I guess, of interviews and whatnot, and they basically said that I wasn't what they were looking for, and unfortunately, I was up there in age, and at that time, I was 36.
And that would have been the Ronda Rousey versus Miesha season.
Yes, it
Do you
would
feel
have.
like would you have wanted Miesha to be your coach back then, if you think about it?
In all honesty, I'm so happy I did not get picked. I don't, I laugh at it now. I don't think I could handle being in a house full of women, female fighters, alphas. I need to be the alpha. And so I don't think it would have been my cup of tea.
And then, obviously, as you look back on your UFC career, what have been some of your most favorite inside the cage moments?
Ooh, everybody keeps asking that question today, so here we go again. There's two moments that stand out. First is the Jessica Andrade, and I was fighting in Brazil, and obviously that's in hostile territories. And the crowd on my way out chanting, "You're gonna die." They roared so loud for her, the cage was shaking. I was like, and they booed so loud for me, the cage was shaking. And I think when we got into it, I just kind of fine-tuned them out like I always do. They were just still so loud. I couldn't hear my corner. I couldn't hear her corner. I couldn't even hear myself. I couldn't hear nothing. And as soon as she tapped, silence. Dead silence. And I was just like taking that moment in. That was one moment that stood out for me. And obviously the other one was the Sarah McMahon fight, when the worst case scenario, don't get in her side control, and I got in side control. And it was just one of those things. I got back to my corner after the first round. I was like, well, that sucked. And they're like, get it together. So we had practiced something as far as, take down to a triangle, and it just so happened that I got it. And that moment right there was just kind of in your face, because everybody counted me out for that fight.
Well, congratulations on what's been a great run, and best of luck on
I
Saturday.
appreciate it. Thank you.
You mentioned keeping it a secret, your retirement. I'm wondering if you did that because you were worried people might talk you out of it, or you might talk yourself out of it, or if you just wanted to enjoy it.
Yes, I've been tried to talk out of it as of now. They have tried to talk me out of it, and that's not going to happen. Oh, you got one more, no, this is it. And I think more so was, there's some things that you just need to keep to yourself. You can't always let your right hand know what the left hand is doing, and vice versa. So I just kind of was like, I don't want them to think that mentally I'm already checked out. I don't want them to bring it up. I didn't even want it to be in the conversation. I just wanted that to be for myself.
So why reveal it for this one? Did you want the fans to know, hey, this is my last chance?
Oh yeah, and I wanted them to know this is it. And I wanted to let the UFC know, this is my final fight. Thank you they've changed my life. They've done a lot. They've done a lot for me, and I can't say enough thank yous. But I wanted them to know, I want to go out on my own terms. Will you let me do it? And they were absolutely 100% for it.
And a little off topic, I'm just curious what it was like to teach PE during a pandemic.
Oh, it was miserable. It was terrible. I was like, I did not wish that on my worst enemy. No.
Did you have to do it online?
Yes.
Oh, that's terrible.
Yes, it is.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm. But I look good on camera. I was like, look at these lights, though.
Good to see you.
Good to see you too.
See, he speaks English. No problem. I guess talk about the lessons that you took out of the last fight for you.
Sorry?
The lessons that you took out of the last fight.
As lições que você tirou da última luta.
Foi difícil, mas eu já perdi outras vezes no jiu-jitsu e as derrotas me fizeram muito melhor. E dessa vez não foi diferente.
It was very hard, but I lost before in jiu-jitsu, so this time was not different. The defeat made me even better. That's how I'm coming right now.
Of course, the way you lost was what surprised us the most. Was that difficult for you to deal with, being submitted?
A forma que você perdeu foi o que foi surpresa, né, para todo mundo. Foi mais difícil ainda porque foi desse jeito?
Realmente foi, né? Eu não esperava que eu fosse ser finalizado, mas nas condições que eu estava ali de cansaço, de exaustão, qualquer um poderia me finalizar.
Yeah, like I was not expecting to be, submitted like that, but I was so exhausted, so tired that, anybody could just submit me there in that situation.
Right. It definitely seemed like the energy level was the issue, not the technique. So has like cardio, or has that been the focus since?
Ele está falando que provavelmente parecia que a sua energia era o problema e não, na verdade, a técnica, né? Você focou bastante no cardio dessa vez?
Sim, na verdade eu fui muito ansioso para querer acabar a luta rápido e gastei bastante energia, principalmente depois que eu fui pro armlock e ali que a luta desandou e eu fui me cansando e minha mente quebrou.
I was too anxious to finish the fight early, so I lost a lot of energy trying that arm lock, and then my mind just went to a place where, I lost mentally in that moment.
Nice.
Mas sem dúvidas eu trabalhei bastante o meu cardio também e a minha calma, procurei melhorar em todos os aspectos do meu jogo.
I tried to get better in all the aspects of my game, especially mentally and also my cardio.
Interesting. So do you think that's the biggest key for you moving forward, is just the mental side of it and understanding how to, I guess, manage your energy?
Você entendeu? Ele está perguntando se você é esse
A chave.
A chave para você, né, melhorar daqui para frente, se é a mentalidade.
Com certeza. Era difícil eu me sentir confortável no octógono, né? Desde a minha primeira luta, eu fiz 7 lutas estando desconfortável, não querendo estar ali. Isso era uma coisa que eu precisava mudar, só que eu não estava ganhando, não estava mudando. Mas depois dessa luta, foi uma das coisas que eu pensava todos os dias, de eu ter que aprender a curtir o momento que eu estiver ali.
I needed to learn how to like being inside the cage. That was something that I never liked since I did 7 fights there and I never felt comfortable inside the octagon. So I had to practice and try to mentally like something that I worked hard to actually start liking and enjoy the moment there.
That's interesting. So with MMA, you don't really enjoy the experience, so why keep going back and doing it?
Se você não gosta da experiência, né, por que você continua voltando?
Eu acho que pelo fato de eu sentir esse medo que eu sentia, né, esse sentimento que entrar ali me dava, me fazia maior, me fazia grande. Eu sentia que eu evoluía como ser humano e eu tenho dentro de mim que eu posso ser muito bom nesse esporte, por isso que eu estou insistindo.
I feel I can be very good in this sport, that's why I keep trying, but overcoming that fear of being inside the cage was something that I used to feel. It was hard to get there, but it was better after I overcome that fear to be inside the octagon. So that was the process.
Very nice. Talk about this matchup with Dustin. What do you think about him as an opponent in his style?
É um oponente muito duro, né? Só tem 2 derrotas. A última luta ele perdeu e eu acho que uma foi lá atrás no início da carreira. É um cara duro, mas eu estou muito bem preparado para ele no sábado.
He's a very tough opponent, has only 2 losses. One was a long time ago. I think he's a very hard fight for me, and I'm going to be well prepared for him on Saturday. Nice.
Last thing for me, what's the goal? Is it just to win, or do you feel like you almost have to do something spectacular to maybe make people forget about that last performance?
Não. Eu quero ganhar de qualquer jeito. Eu não estou aqui para provar nada para ninguém. Não estou aqui para provar, para mostrar que eu evoluí ou fazer apagar o que eu passei. O que eu passei, passou. assim como as minhas vitórias, eu não fico pensando. E é uma nova luta, é um novo oponente, é uma nova oportunidade de eu estar lá me testando e mostrar o meu trabalho. Então, eu quero ganhar de qualquer forma.
I want to win no matter what. It's a new fight. It's a new test that is ahead of me. I don't think about the past fight. I don't think about my past wins. You know, what happened is in the past. I need to focus on this fight, and I want to win no matter how.
Right here. You're such a specialist with jiu-jitsu. I wonder, when you're in training, how much time do you actually devote to working your ground game? Because obviously you want it to stay at a high level, but you want to grow the rest of your skills in MMA.
Isso é uma coisa difícil, né? Eu gostaria de manter o meu jiu-jitsu com nível muito alto, mas eu tenho que treinar outras modalidades, né? Então é difícil. Mas eu tenho outras prioridades também, né? Que é pegar mais confiança, evoluir na parte em pé, evoluir nas minhas quedas, no ground and pound, o próprio jiu-jitsu mesmo para MMA. Então, eu tento treinar tudo e manter o meu jiu-jitsu, claro, afiado.
I need to try everything because I need to try to get better in all the areas, get more confident, you know, train my ground and pound, also my stand-up game. But I try to train a little bit of everything to keep my game complete. He wished he could have like more time to train jiu-jitsu as well and devote more time to keep his jiu-jitsu in a high level. But, you know, with MMA training, you have to train a little bit of everything.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I am, but that date's not gonna work. I'm gonna be out of town. That's a Saturday. How long do those usually last? So far, that sounds good. Okay, yeah, go ahead and come to the All right. Sounds good. Thank you very much.
Jeremy, can you describe just kind of where your headspace is at right now, man? I mean, I think about last time you were here and, very emotional week and all that, and then it all falls apart. So where do you stand right now?
Shit, I'm jamming, bro. Straight jamming right now. I'm ready to rock and roll. It's fight week. I don't have to cut 1,000,000 pounds to go and fight. I'm excited, man. It's good to be back here and hear your voice and just be here in the presence of fighting.
That's awesome, man, to hear the positivity. I can't imagine you were that way right away, right? I mean, I know you want to get out there and fight. So, I mean, how difficult was that to not, get that opportunity?
What do you do, man? What do you do? You do a lot of work. I was closing on a lot of tabs, last time we had talked, and just in a really good head place and space, and the opportunity didn't come. And I realized, everything happens for a reason. Take the positive out of it, just like I go about my life, and here we are facing, I feel like, a more game opponent, a little bit more dangerous of opponent, a guy who can mix it up a lot better than Jafar, so I'm excited.
Nice. Any regrets? I mean, I know you're going to be you're the little heathen for a reason, but I mean, any regrets in that shove?
You saw my interview and you heard his interview. He kind of sounded a little bit arrogant, not really giving me credit, kind of saying this, saying that, and he was dealing with injuries. And then when that happened, it was like, oh, I get it, But the human side of me was like, that maybe it could have waited. But, the primal side was like, nah, fuck that, bro. You broke protocol. First of all, we were in UFC a couple days before that, pounding, to him and his girlfriend, whatever, and everything was cool. But I could tell at the weigh-ins, and he just kept coming up, and he was just like in his eyes, and then, he gets right in my face and touches nose to nose, and to me, it was just like disrespect, bro. I'm showing up for a different reason. I was really showing up to really concuss him on Saturday night. I mean, call it brutal what it is, but you watch my highlight tape, you know what I'm here to do. And to me, it was just disrespectful. And, we could have had it. We could have had a good fight, and I was cool. I was telling you earlier that we were cool. We were hanging out before, and even he was late to the weigh-ins. He came in like he was going to hit a set, So I just think that he was just in a different headspace than I was, and it's probably a good thing that we didn't fight because I had bad intentions.
They have like the Jeremy Stevens policy now, right? Like before every card, they're telling people, by the way, if you touch anybody, you can be taken off this card.
Yeah, that doesn't work, man. I've seen so many people touch people. This is the fight game, bro. This isn't a sport. You want to keep it sport. Watch something else. Connor kicked Dana, and did he get any trouble or any fines taken out? Hell no. Boy's making him millions and millions of dollars. So it's the fight game. People love that shit, to be honest.
Yeah, they actually do. All right, let's talk about this opponent. As you said, kind of a more game opponent. I mean, an impressive record, but obviously a lot of it built outside of the UFC. So were you familiar with this guy at all when they presented him to you?
No, I had to look him up.
What do you think in what you've seen?
MMA wrestler, striker, grappler at heart, is another guy. I feel like he's going to want to be taking me down. Game plan, trains with a great camp and American top team, so they game plan really well. But he's going to find out in there. It's hard to game plan against a dude who's throwing bricks and shotguns at your chest and body, and able to defend takedowns as well. Frankie Edgar took me down a couple times, but it didn't hold me down very long. I was able to get up, and Frankie held down Charles Oliveira and whooped his ass. So. Dennis Bermudez, guy who come in with wrestling, he took me down right in the beginning of the first round. I'd received a cut, little things, but then after that, all his takedown attempts were failed. Then he ended up getting smashed with a knee to his dome, and that's how we treat them guys right there. So I'm looking to go out there and have a great performance against Gamrot. I feel like he's a worthy opponent. He's game, but he's in for a long night.
Yeah. What do you do if he gets in your face at the weigh-ins, at the ceremony, at the face-off? What do you do?
You know what? I don't think we're just going to allow that. You know, I think we're just going to keep a distance. I might just stick my hand out to shake his hand. I want to be completely calm, chilled, collected. And Saturday night, because you know, I didn't walk away with my show money like some people did. You know, so I'm gonna be playing it cool, man.
Nice. Last thing for me.
Or maybe not. Who knows? Maybe when we get there, we'll see. We'll see. What
Shove
happens.
him anyway.
Yeah, who gives a fuck? Who gives a fuck, right? I mean, unless you give a fuck, like the Diaz, like the fans love you. So who knows, man? Catch me in the mood. We'll see.
Maybe that'll be your thing. Like just when people walk up, you just automatically shove them.
Shoving Stevens, baby.
Last
when I shove people, they don't fucking move. You hear that, dude? I mean, honestly, after the fight, after that kind of down, like I saw that and like I really wanted to retweet it, but I didn't. But it was just fucking hilarious, dude. So.
Last thing for me, just talk about, I guess, the importance of this fight. Because, you know, you talk about, man, like the great headspace you were in and kind of this, you know, reinvention of yourself, then you didn't get to. So, I mean, is this a big night for you to go out there and show that the work you put in is paying off?
Every night is a big night, man. Your ass is on the chopping block every time you get in the UFC, even if you're on a win streak. You don't give a fuck, man. You got to go out there and do your thing. But I don't ever put that pressure on. I can just fight. I can scrap. I just have it naturally. You know, I know that, you know. But I know that I want to win. I don't want to fucking lose. I don't want to be one of them guys just come in like, oh, I had a great performance. No, I want to put people away. I want to win. You know, like I've been telling people, the money is for my family, for my future, for them to play softball, for them to do their thing. I just want the fucking win, just to stand over your body after I concussed you and you're laying there and just almost like, oh, that's the win, bro. That's what I chase. It's the adrenaline. It's been a long damn time, bro, and it's been a long, over a year since I fought, you know, since I was 16 years old. You know, and all I have is from my fist, literally. Like, since I was 16 years old. You see all these clothes on me besides the venom. You know, I've earned it with my fist and fighting, and that's what I really love to do. That's what I'm passionate about. That's what I bring to the table, and that's why people tune in to watch me fight.
It's that last fight. Do you want that one to actually happen, or does the shove count as a win in your mind?
To me, it does. I mean, fuck. He didn't want none, you know, he didn't show up. I mean, a shove really, like, did all that to you, you know, and the way that he went about, you know, I know the little backgrounds where he was like, oh, I'm going to get a lawyer, and no, I need paid, so the UFC paid him. You know, they didn't want to deal with it. They're like, oh, we did you a favor by not doing the commission. You know what the funny thing is, bro, is the commissions are fans. You know, I had talked to one of the commission, I won't blast him out, but he's like, man, I'm excited to watch you fight. I've been watching you fight for a long time. This is cool, so... It is what it is, man. If they were going to find me, at least pay me my money so I can at least get paid, you know, because I was actually still training. I went back in on Monday. It's like, dude, just pay me my full fucking fight purse or at least show. Like, you know I'll honor it and fight in 2 days, 3 days, 2 weeks, whatever. But that wasn't the case. So a broken heart and a broken wallet will teach you a lot in life, and that was kind of the lesson and journey that I've been going on. And guess what, man? I'm going to flip the script, and come Saturday, you'll see what I've been working on.
In a weird way, right? It's funny because there'll be some people like, oh, you can't do that. You can't shove each other at the weigh-ins. But then
change the channel.
But then if they rebook that fight, it'll be like twice as big now because that happened. Because
Nah. I'll never take that fight ever. He had a great opportunity in the co-main event. He would have never had a co-main event if it wasn't for me, let's be honest. And the way that he went about things, you know, I have zero tolerance for that type of behavior. You know, if he wins and works his way up, for sure. But honestly, I don't want that fight. You know, to me, I was just going to knock his ass out and move on.
Cool, thank
you. I read this correctly. This is your second training camp sober, correct?
Yep.
I guess, can you talk a little bit about just the difference now? Obviously, the first one, you felt the effects, but now that it's been a while and you've done the process, I mean, can you just talk about mentally and physically the difference that you're feeling day in and day out?
Yeah, you know, maybe in the past that, you know, the fight would have happened like that and I wouldn't have got paid. Maybe I just would have went off drinking my sorrows away. Maybe I would have just done that instead of going back to the gym. The no drinking's really just kind of kept me focused and kind of kept me in the gym, kept me thinking on the positive, kept me working. People say I even look better. My face looks a little bit more clear. And I'm feeling the benefits of quitting one thing has opened up a lot of doors for me. I'm very excited at the place where I'm at. You know, I'm not living in fear. I'm not like, oh my God, I got to win this fight. Oh, blah, blah, blah. Like, I honestly cannot fucking wait and go out there and perform like that. I mean, I was just born to perform. I really realize that. I know that I'm standing in my power and I'm standing in my best right now. These few years that are coming are going to be my best years, and then I'm gone.
You brought it up a little bit earlier, like possibly, you're always on the chopping block. I mean, there's very few guys who have had the lengthy UFC career that you have. Is that something you honestly, think could happen? Because I think a lot of people, they're like, look, UFC has said they like Jeremy Stephens win or lose until he probably calls it a day.
Yeah, I don't like losing. Losing fucking sucks, and I don't get paid these big red panty night checks, so I like to win. Like I just told you, I love to win. The money is for my family. I would just come in here and fight for free if I didn't have a family. Honestly, I love fighting that much. But it teaches you a lot in life and where I really want to go, where I see myself, life after fighting, during fighting. I want to be living my best life, dude. So I'm here to win.
Thank you.
What does life after fighting look like for Jeremy Stephens?
Chill, bro. No more weight cutting. Just chilling on real estate, collecting money, watching my kids grow up, maybe being a softball coach, softball dad. I really just want to enjoy the journey and let my money work for me and just live life, And I definitely want to be 70 years old, still, picking up the lady, shaking her down like dice at night and running marathons and just enjoying it and just kicking back. I got a brand name, Screaming Heathen. I'm looking to make my own beer, have my own marijuana brand, and just live life, brother.
You would be the most intense softball coach ever. Do you ever do anything like, it's funny.
You haven't met my wife.
I love your passion. I mean, do you ever try to do anything like super chill, like fishing, or are you the most intense fisherman in all of history?
No, I love to fish. I'm from the Midwest, man. I love to hunt. I love to fish. I do super still stuff, I like to smoke weed and meditate and do hot yoga. I do them things. I'm a lot different person outside the octagon. I wish maybe you guys would follow me around. You'd be like, really? This guy does that? Or you probably don't even know I drink coffee. People just think I brush my teeth with bad intentions, like Dana said all the time. I walk around, but I'm not an angry person, bro. I really like to stand in my power. I really like to help people. I love to give back. I'm the type of guy who take off my shirt. I've donated to homeless. I've put myself in charities. I've given back. I take my kids to programs in the shelters. We go down there for Christmas. We donate stuff like that because, I can't sit back in my big ass house and pool and be like, hey, you don't, this is the way. And I'm like, because they don't know how their dad grew up. They don't see that. They just see this soft, loving guy who's their hero. So I take them to experiences like that. These are still people, and this is how you treat people. And just because, like, hey, I was in a shelter one time with my mom, and look where I made it. So you don't treat people any different. So that's the type of guy that I am outside the octagon, and I love that. Something like Dustin Poirier. Someone who is in that type of stage, making that type of money, really helping out a lot of people. That's what I love to do, man. I love to donate my time and help out the people who really, truly need it.
That's awesome. Thanks so much.
Thank you, sir. All right, guys, enjoy. UFC, and you can be tuning in Saturday.
Thiago, main event for the UFC, obviously a big opportunity. What's the feeling like for you right now?
I'm very happy for this opportunity. You know, this shows that Dana White UFC, they are liking my fights, and I'm very grateful for this opportunity. And they're recognizing not just the work that I did on my last 3 fights, you know, and the work that I did on my whole life.
Nice. I know it's a small detail, but like just seeing yourself on the poster, and is that cool for you to see that kind of stuff?
Yeah, that's very cool, man. That's what I dream my whole life, you know. I'm living a dream, you know. I'm very happy.
Very nice. Obviously, the adjustment means you got to go 5 rounds. So how much did that impact your training, your preparation? Did you have to change things completely to train for 5 over 3?
I just I did a couple more rounds in sparring, you know. I just a couple little things in the strength conditioning department. But I had done 5 rounds 3 times before, so I'm used to, you know. I think this is going to be an advantage for me, to be honest with you, because I had done that before, and Inzala, he didn't do that before, so I think that's the advantage for me.
Nice. You talked about the win streak that you're on right now. It's been impressive. You had some mixed results at first, but what do you think's been the key right now during this win streak?
Man, I think everything is falling in place. You know, my mindset, my skills. I'm getting more mature. You know, I think I was very young when I came to the UFC. I'm still very young, and I have a lot to grow. And can't wait to see like where I'm gonna be like in 3-4 years.
Nice. Talk about Islam as an opponent, right? I mean, a lot of people look at him as like the guy nobody wanted to fight. I mean, do you think? What do you think about him as an opponent?
Man, I think he's a great opponent, a great challenge. He's a great fighter. Like, he's well-rounded. He's a good striker. His strength, of course, is the takedowns, but he has good grappling as well. I think that's why nobody wants to fight him, you know. But I'm a well-rounded fighter as well. You know, I trust myself. I trust on my skills, my team. I have the best team behind me, and I believe that I have all the tools to beat him.
Yeah. So how did you feel about it when they gave you the name originally? Like, did you want to fight him, or were you like, I guess so?
No, man, I didn't think twice, you know. I accepted the fight right away. I didn't expect to fight him. I was expecting him to fight like maybe a top 5 opponent, and I was really surprised, you know. But I was very happy, and I say, okay, let's go, let's do this, you know. That's how we grow, you know, taking challenges, and that's a big challenge for me, and I'm ready for that.
Yeah, it would definitely be a big win. What do you think should come next? I know he's talking about if he wins, he wants top 5. I mean, do you feel like if you win, top 5 is where you are?
Yes, I think with a win over Islam, I deserve a top 5 opponent. You know, I'm going to be right in the mix for a title match.
Nice. And last thing for me, what kind of fight do you think we see on Saturday? We know what kind of game he brings in there. So, I mean, are we going to see like a grinding, kind of grappling, wrestling kind of fight, or can you do something more spectacular?
Man, my focus is going to be striking, you know, but I think this fight is going to be a lot of grappling. But I train a lot of jiu-jitsu for this fight. I train a lot of wrestling. I'm ready for that, and I hope we can give you a good show, you know, for the fans.
Thiago over here. A lot of people obviously compare Islam to his teammate and coach Khabib. In your opinion, what's the difference between the two of them stylistically?
Man, I think Khabib has a higher pace than him. You know, Khabib doesn't stop, more pressure. I think Islam a little bit more technical on the feet, but I think Khabib. For me, Khabib is the best lightweight of all time. You know, nobody's like Khabib, and Islam's not. It's definitely not like Khabib. You know, and that's the biggest difference between them. You know, I think the pace. Khabib has a.
One of the most popular ways to get into the UFC, one of the most coveted that everyone wants to do, is the Contender Series. If you win on Saturday, you would be the first Contender Series fighter to win a UFC main event. Does that mean anything to you?
Man, just winning, you know, the main events means a lot for me, you know, and I'm very, very excited for that.
Thank you.
Is this fight a little bit easier to prepare for because you know exactly how Islam is going to fight? So you know that he's going to come and grapple?
Yeah, I know that he's going to come and grapple, you know, but definitely it's not easy to prepare for a guy like that, you know, because he's such a good grappler. He has very good techniques, you know, so many takedowns, and that's definitely not easy fight to prepare, even you knowing that what he's going to try to do, you know. we're good?
Dustin, I know the debut didn't go the way you hoped for it. I guess what did you take out of that one?
Yeah, you said that right. It's a little bit hard to take a whole lot from that fight, mostly just because I hate making excuses for stuff. I really, really do. It pains me to even say it, but I was really, really suffering from the long-term effects of COVID, and I got tired within like a minute and a half. And that like never happens to me. And between just being exhausted and not really being able to do what I usually do, and a bit of the panic that set in, the frustration of not being able to fight, really put me on the defensive for most of the fight. And yeah, so the biggest takeaway from that fight was to take care of myself in training, and if I'm sick, then do something about it, and not just sort of put on my blinders and keep going, which is what I did.
I was gonna say, did you know from your training like this is not gonna be good, or did it get was it just worse during the fight?
I just didn't think about it. I really just did not think about it. So I had COVID in October, and had to quarantine for 3 weeks, and that bumped our fight back 2 weeks, I think. And then I thought, okay, that should be enough time. We'll just go for it. And then I came back into training, felt really bad. But I thought, okay, you just had 3 weeks of quarantine. Obviously, you're going to be feeling bad. You just need to get used to it again. And so that went on for a little bit. And then I was still feeling bad. And I was like, well, you know what? You've been training 2-3 times a day. Of course, you're going to be feeling crappy. And then I was like, well, the week before the fight, you'll feel better after that. And that just wasn't the case.
Wow. So I was going to ask, 8 months, was that by design? Did you take extra time between fights? I'm sure if you were healthy, you would have fought frequently, more frequently. Was that by design?
That was by design. I had decided as soon as the fight was over, I was not even going to think about scheduling a fight until I could train normally again. And that took a really long time. Not because the effects were really that bad. It turned out just to be a micronutrient deficiency. Just needed to take the right supplements and I was fine. But it took until April until we found out what it actually was. So lots and lots of tests, lots of working with different doctors and hospitals and specialists until we actually found out what was going on. Because it being a respiratory disease, everyone's looking at heart and lungs, heart and lungs, heart and lungs, and it just took a really long time before they're like, well, the effects are a lot like overtraining. Maybe it's a supplement or maybe it's a nutrient deficiency, and that's what it ended up being.
Crazy. So I guess now is this kind of feel like your debut in a way? Like, hey, I know I'm 100%?
It feels like my debut with a lot more pressure because now I had that very disappointing performance. Even if I would have lost, it would have been a lot easier to swallow if I could have at least put up a performance that shows what I can do. And so having that really lackluster performance be my first real introduction into the UFC was heartbreaking, to be honest. And so now it does feel like my debut. It's like this is the real Dustin coming in, but with more pressure.
Understood. What do you think about the matchup with Rodolfo? Obviously a specialist. You know what he's going for, right?
Yeah, I've said it before and I'll say it again. I think Rodolfo is the best opponent that I could have wished for in the UFC roster right now, as far as his skills matching up to mine and his name being as big as it is. I think I have a really, really good chance to finish this fight and to really show what I can do. Of course, especially in the first round, the guy's an absolute beast on the ground. It could go pretty sour and he ends up choking me out, but I think I have a really, really good chance in this fight, and I'm really excited to show you all what I can actually do.
That's awesome. And last thing for me, I was going to ask, obviously you want to get your hand raised, you want to get a win, but is that the goal, to kind of put on a performance that makes people realize, hey, that wasn't really me out there last time?
Winning will do that.
Hey, man. Just to clarify, you said the nutrition deficiency was that definitely related to the COVID, or was it something you just had underlying that they didn't even bother checking because you'd had the COVID?
I don't want to go too much in detail about it because for fear of messing things up and saying something wrong.
Okay.
But as far as I understood it, me having COVID really threw my immune system for a loop, and then I ended up getting an intestinal tract infection, and that, along with COVID together, just sucked a whole bunch of really vital micronutrients out of my system.
Just a real fun time.
Real fun time, yeah.
Right here. I was going to ask, I saw your Instagram. Just how does one channel their inner Sean Strickland for a fight?
Lots of jabs to the nose, I don't know, and lots of insults. Just be mean and be nasty.
What was it like getting some work in with him? Obviously, he also has a big fight coming up around this time.
We didn't work too much together because he's not necessarily the kind of guy you want to be sparring with a lot right before your own fight. But we got one really good round in, and then but we worked together before. Leading up to my Contender Series fight, we did some sparring. So I know him mostly from that. We trained a lot more right before that fight than for this one.
Thanks.
This might sound like a weird question, but is there any relief that you've got that UFC loss out of the way? Like, hey, I've done it, I got through it, I'll be okay, I can survive a loss. Is there any bit of a little bit of relief that that's out of the way? You can be honest.
That's a hard question. There is a certain type of relief that does come from having failed and having worked through that. That definitely is a phenomenon that I've experienced before. But it having been my debut and it going the way that it did, not so much a relief for me, more a little bit more pressure than it would have otherwise been. Because otherwise you go up against a guy like Rodolfo Vieira, it's like, well, if you get choked out, you get choked out by one of the best people in the world. But now it's like, there's that chance, and like all these people that know nothing about me now think that just my fight against Dawkins is what I can actually do, and that's just not the case.
Was there fear that you wouldn't get another chance? Because I mean, sometimes we see people cut for, and we're like, why? Why? So was that also part of the pressure?
I wasn't too worried about it. I mean, obviously the UFC can cut me whenever they want, which brings definitely a certain sense of uncertainty into any fight. But I don't think I'm expensive enough for the UFC to just get rid of after one fight. I don't think they would care too much. If I was like on my second or third contract and I'm making $100,000 for just to show up, and then after that performance, I would be a little worried, but that's not the case yet. So, yeah, so a little bit, but not too much.
Thanks, sir.
All right, thank you guys.
Islam, just talk to us about the feeling right now. I mean, being the headliner, being treated as the main event. What's the feeling like for you right now?
Feel good. Cut weight, always not easy. Now main event, a lot of media, a lot of other stuff, but I'm okay.
I was gonna say all the extra interviews, all the extra things that you have to do. Is it enjoyable to you, or is it kind of annoying maybe?
Not enjoy, but I have to be ready for this because now it's beginning, but next fight and all my career is gonna be like this because now I am close with belt, I think. But when you cut weight, this is always hard when you drink a lot of water.
Yeah. Is it hard?
But I enjoy,
I was gonna say, is it hard for you to do the interviews, because you don't strike me as somebody that likes to talk a lot or talks trash, that sort of thing. So is it difficult for you?
Not, I have to just improve my English, and they're gonna be better. Now a little bit hard because my English not very well, but I promise I'm gonna improve and I'm gonna make more interview, talk with you guys.
So like in Russian, do you like joke a lot and talk trash to people?
Not like talk trash, but people know when I speak Russian, I use a lot of jokes, something like this.
That's funny. Well, we look forward to it. Have you seen Thiago at all? Have you guys crossed paths or?
Yeah, I met him yesterday in Fighters Hotel.
What do you think? I mean, what was the interaction like for you?
Nothing. I just shaking his hands, and that's it.
Yeah. What do you think about him as a fighter? His style. Is there anything that impresses you about him?
I know these guys. I saw his couple fights. He's tough. He have good skills. He good everywhere. Because my last opponent, Drew Dober, he has very good striking game, and everybody know about his wrestling, grappling. But this guy have good striking, good grappling.
How important is it for you to get a finish? I mean, here you are, a main event, big opportunity. Do you feel it's important that you not just win a decision, but that you actually finish him as well?
Yeah. I have to finish him, but 5 rounds. This is my first 5 rounds. If I go with all rounds, maybe this is gonna be good for me too because this is big experience. I never fight 5 rounds.
Yeah. Have you gotten one good piece of advice from Khabib this week? I mean, I know he's around all the time, but as a main event, as a headliner, has he given you any special advice this week?
Nothing special, but he always told me we always watch my opponents and we make some plan, always.
Nice. Last thing for me, I know your manager Ali, he says Rafael dos Anjos is the fight to make after this. Is that the fight that makes sense to you, or are you open to other fights as well?
RDA is good for me next, but this guy always run, Now he told I want to fight with Conor or Khabib, and last week Conor slept in the weigh-in. What he did? Nothing. This guy always run. This guy old. Yeah, I understand him. He want to make money, but I want to help him retire it,
Islam right here. Islam, I'm curious, when you're in the corner, who is the coach who's given you the most instruction? Is it Khabib or is it Javier?
I think Khabib, because they both, when they come to between rounds, they have like 1 minute. Like Khabib tell them, hey, I have 30 seconds, I'm gonna say what I want, but you next. But Khabib have more experience in this game, that's why I think he understands more.
We saw the video that was posted. Khabib is coaching and he's telling people, if you cry, go ahead. If you're going to quit, go ahead. Is he like that with you also, or is that just something for other people?
Now Khabib retired, but he pushed all guys from team. Sometimes he pushed too much because he rests, he's not training. and he don't understand. He doesn't understand how they hard. And we finished training, but he still gives some exercise. Now he like push everybody.
My final question. You've been doing this for so long, since you were very young. I'm assuming this was always your dream, but if you were not a fighter, what do you think your job would be? What job would you have wanted to have?
I don't know, you know. Maybe I make some small business, and I very like village, farm, animals. Maybe I make something like this.
Thank you.
There's another fighter who says that if you win on Saturday, he would like to fight you as Dan Hooker. Is that something that interests you?
You know, Dan Hooker posted something today. If Islam win this fight and called me, I like. But who is Dan Hooker? You know, now he number 8. He lost his 6th fight. He lose 3 times. I need someone who bring me to close the belt. But I don't think Hooker is big step for me.
Thank you.
Thank you, guys.
Trash talk coming along nicely. Very good. Been a while.
Yeah, it's
been a while. Almost 5 years. So talk about it. I mean, obviously you've been building to this point. You made the decision. You've been training, but now you're here, fight week. What's the emotion like for you right now?
It feels damn good to say it's fight week. Yeah, I mean, it's like that old friend that you haven't talked to in years, and you call them up, and you're like, you haven't skipped a beat. You know, that's how I feel. I feel at home with this. It's very natural, and I'm the happiest to be here that I've been in a very long time.
When you made the decision to walk away, it seemed to me like mental burnout more than anything. Is that an accurate way to say it? Like, it wasn't that you didn't feel you couldn't compete, you were just kind of tired of dealing with everything?
Yeah, absolutely. I just had too much on my plate, and especially like baggage that I just really didn't need. I needed to clear away things that were taken away from me as a person, as a human being, right? We're all humans, and I think we've all been through rough patches in our life, right? So that was just a really rough time for me, and I just needed to step away and regroup, and I kind of identified that as with the sport. But to be honest, when I've taken this 4 years away and I look at it, and I'm more in love with the sport than I've ever been, so it wasn't that. It was just the entanglement of everything, and that included the sport. And when I had to step away from the toxicity, that meant I had to step away from the sport too, because I just didn't know how to detangle the knot, until I was outside of it.
As far as coming back, I wonder if this is like the ideal scenario, right? Like this is kind of a small fight week card after a huge event. You know what I mean? Like you were in the spotlight in the heat of it, like for a long, long time. Is this kind of refreshing that it's not all of that?
It's so perfect. It is so perfect. I'm so glad I wasn't on the Conor card. I just didn't. I've loved that I've just been able to focus on what I'm doing and just get my feet wet again, right? I mean, it's been a while. I feel great and I'm rolling with the momentum, but I don't feel like I need all that right now. I'm just doing my thing. Like I could have gone to the Conor fight too and just been a guest or spectator, but I'm like, I just want to focus. I just want to do my thing, and that's what I'm gonna kind of been the theme of this camp. Just very ultra focused.
What do you think about the matchup with Marion? What do you think she brings to the table? What do you think about her as an opponent?
I think Marion is great. I really admire her. I think she's very solid. I don't think she has a lot of holes in her game. She's a black belt in jiu-jitsu. She has that strong submission over Sarah McMahon, so impressive. She has a great submission over Jessica Andrade, and she stays in fights. The fights she has lost have always been very close. She's lost a number of split decisions. She's been on the verge of being a contender a number of times, and she just didn't get her break. But the way that I look at this fight and the Marion Reneau that I prepared for is a mother who's going to have her son in the corner for the first time, who's going to look at somebody that matters between rounds and say, I don't want to let that person down. You know what I mean? I could only imagine as a mother, if I physically saw my children between the rounds, like it's going to charge her and she's going to come and she's going to bring it. This is the fight, according to her, that she's always wanted. She's always wanted to fight me, and there's nothing left. It's her retirement fight. So what does she have to save for? There's no title fight on the horizon. There's nothing else. So I think for her, she's going to bring everything that she has. So I've really had that mindset the entire camp, that there is no underestimating this woman. A lot of people might, because they might look at her record and say, oh, it's not the best. She's never been finished in the UFC. How about that?
Yeah.
Who else can say? I mean, not very many women, not even the champion Amanda can say that. I can't say that. Holly can't say that. A lot of the very best women in this, Juliana fighting for world title, she can't say that. But Marion can, and she's fought a lot of the best. She's never been finished. So she's a tough old, I don't want to say a tough old dog. I don't want to, but you know what I'm saying? Like, she's a veteran. And she knows how to stay in these fights. So I'm expecting her to bring it.
I know that you said that, coming back, you're not wanting anything less than gold, right? You're coming back for it all. But what's the journey for you here, right? Because this would be, like you said, she's a tough, durable competitor, but not necessarily the highest ranked. You walked away at the top of the division. How do you go? I mean, do you start from the bottom and work up, or do you think what you accomplished 5 years ago means that, you're 2 or 3 in the world or 1 win away from a title shot? How do you see your journey to the top? I don't know how it translates. You know what I want to do? I just want to start with Saturday. You know what I mean? I think it's very important that I get that win and I don't look too far ahead. I am somebody who, has short-term, midterm, long-term goals. So there's a way that I would like for it to go in a perfect world. But I know that I need to accomplish this. It's imperative that I get this win for my trajectory. And, I think it's not unrealistic to say that if I have the performances that I'm planning on having, that it could be as little as 3 fights until I'm back into a title shot. If I'm beating and I'm continuing to move up and I'm climbing the ranks, that I think is a fair assumption. But I just want to start with Saturday and, see how that goes. Nice. And last thing for me, like you said, you pick up a win or two, that spotlight's going to get super intense once again, all right? Do you welcome that? Or do you feel like I don't want it to be like it was the time before? Because like I said, I know that the pressure and the intensity on you was a lot. Yeah, it was a lot, but I still don't think that it was the pressure or the intensity that was the problem. I just think it was me and where I was at, that I just couldn't handle more of anything. So, when you're in a place of depression, when you're in a dark place, when you're suffering, but you're putting on this front and face, and I'm trying to convince myself a lot of the time, that I'm okay. I just didn't have it to give anymore. That's really what it boiled down to. I just didn't have it to give anymore. And I was so used to that because since I was 19 years old and I started fighting, that's the way it had always been. It had always been that way in my personal life, and it had always been that way through my entire career. And I always felt like, you know what, that's how it is.
You know, I thought maybe kind of was how it was for everyone, I guess, and I just did, and I showed up, and I, you know, cry here and go do this, and, you know, have my emotional despair here and go do, and perform in spite of. But I'm at a place now where I feel like I don't need any of that. What if I just got rid of it all and I just allowed myself to be the very best version? That's where I'm at. So I feel very charged and very excited to move forward this Saturday and pursue this second part of my career. So it is upgraded. It's upgrade time, Tate 2.0.
Hey, Miesha.
Hi.
There's this narrative that men, after they have children, they have this dad power. And then when the female fighters have children, it's sort of like, oh no, look, they have children, they're going to have these performances that aren't so great. Why do you think that is? I mean, why do you think that fans are so negative about women having children and then fighting after?
I have no idea, but I'm not, because I feel like I'm proof that I'm stronger than I've ever been. And I think some of the women out there who are mothers, you know, I mean, Marion is one, Michelle Watterson, Nina Ansaroff, right? And then the jiu-jitsu, I'm just drawing a blank on her name.
Mackenzie.
Yes, Mackenzie. What a prime example of a fierce mother, you know? There's just something that changes about you, I think, mind-body connection. When you have a child and you bring life into that, it's such an empowering moment that I think people question, because physically our bodies go through a lot that, you know, dads don't have to go through that, right? So people question, oh, how can they, you know, go physically this way, which is the opposite direction of being a professional athlete, and how could they physically get back to that? I've never once this camp looked at my old self and say, I want to get back to that. I have said, I want to be better than that, and I am.
Thank you.
Miesha over here.
Yes.
I feel like early in your career, especially when you got to the UFC, you know, you were part of obviously a big rivalry, and everyone likes to pick teams, right? Lakers, Celtics, Ronda, Miesha.
Right.
Since you've now, you know, you've done so much, you do the Sirius XM thing, and you've been such a big personality, do you feel like the fans have kind of come around to you in that second chapter of your career where you weren't fighting, as opposed to when you first got to the UFC?
Do I think that they've come around to the second chapter of my career?
Like, do you feel like you've just gotten a new wave of support that maybe you didn't when you were here?
You know, I'm very surprised actually that people have been overwhelmingly supportive, and the internet is a very cruel world. So I anticipated a lot of backlash, especially, you know, coming back as a mother. I've had 2 children. You know, I expected people to really be adamant that I was, you know, I'm going to suck and that the sport's passed me by. And I have heard that, sure, but not as much naysay as I expected. I really expected, you know, I was braced for it. I was like, here it comes. Oh, I was like, that wasn't so bad. Actually, people are pretty excited about this, and people have been pretty on board. So I would say it's been 90% positive, which is pretty remarkable for the internet world this day.
You mentioned a lot of the mom fighters, and you know, we've seen a lot of them, and they're very, you know, upfront about their kids are part of their careers. Is there a particular part of this that you want to share with your kids? Is it about having them there with you at the weigh-ins like Amanda has done? Is it anything in particular that you want to share with them?
I want my children, my daughter's only 3. She's at a friend's house right now, and my son is 1. So, I mean, I want to share it all with them, but I want them to just be children, and I don't want them to live to, you know, to my expectations, if you will. I just want them to enjoy the process as children, right? So we all are also in that pandemic world, right? So it's closed venue, it's closed a lot of those things. So they probably will not be in attendance, but you know, I try to involve my daughter as much as possible. Like if you watch my new YouTube series, right? I got a newly launched, if I could speak, YouTube channel. And we're doing kind of a series of my comeback journey, and Amaya is very much a part of that. So is my son, but he's 1, so he naps a lot. But yeah, she closes the door for my sparring sessions, and I have to laugh because the other day, Johnny and I were headed to the Chappelle show. We wanted to just have a laugh, right? Lighthearted close to camp. And we call my daughter for bedtime, and okay, Mommy. I was like, all right, good night, honey. Have a good night. My mom's putting her to bed. And she just says to me, and don't smack anybody. So in her little mind, she but I think I just want her to stay, you know, stay innocent, stay a child, and enjoy it I want her to think mommy's playing, you know, because I am. That's what I'm doing, you know, I'm doing what I love, I'm doing what I enjoy.
Two more. You were part of a lot of different things before you had, gone off to one. You were doing a bit of analyst work, and you were managing fighters like Gustavo. I know you're also involved working with Amanda Serrano, big boxing champion. I mean, do you plan to still be active with some of those things as you spend more time here in the States, or is it just MMA, I'm not going to do the extracurriculars like before?
No, so the extracurriculars were more when I retired as far as managing other fighters. I thought, oh, well, maybe this is a good way for me to stay involved in the sport and try to give back from the lessons I've learned. But those fighters are all doing great. Cheyenne Vlismus, or Cheyenne Bays, if I'm saying that right. Yeah, so she's in the UFC, and so is her husband, and they're all doing fantastic. So I'm very happy for all of them. And yeah, I don't think I'll be doing that, to answer your question. I think that's what you were going to say. No, I will not be working with fighters or managing because, to be honest, I have kids now and I have a lot of other stuff that I have to do. So I've got to focus on becoming a champion again, goal number one, and being the best mother I can be.
Are you still going to be coming out to Roar?
That's right.
Thank you.
Miesha, we spoke about the mental and how much baggage you had in the past and how that's no longer there. How does that manifest itself physically? How do you feel physically compared to when you had all that baggage?
The mind follows the body. Excuse me, the other way around. God, the body. Well, in that case, it probably was. The body follows the mind. So the mind is the driver, if you will. The body's the engine. And my driver was very broken for a long time, and I've fixed it through finding myself. You know, the past 4 years have been a lot of soul searching and meeting great people, and a lot of credit and love to my fiance sitting over there, who's just the most supportive man in the world. Could care less about himself. It's just, it's so nice and so refreshing to be with somebody who's not competing with me, you know, who's just giving and pushing and help, you know. Love this man to death. But when my two children have added such a lightheartedness to this camp, I just can't explain the joy that I have in the polarity of my life, that I get to go and be a fighter and do the most physically grueling, mentally tough, emotionally, it just pulls from you in all these different directions, and then go home and kiss my kids to sleep. You know what I mean? It's such a good life that I have now. Very fulfilled.
Sometimes when we remove those baggages from our lives, it can still be like a very challenging process, just because it can be very difficult. There's a lot of emotions. Once you get through that, and then you start this process of coming back to fight, is it almost a daily validation of like, oh, I can't believe I made the right decision in my life to do this?
Yeah, absolutely. Sometimes when I just look at myself in the mirror, not just physically the changes, but the energy that I feel when I read myself, you know, and that's something that I've really worked on, because I think sometimes we don't take the time to stop and ask ourselves how we're really feeling. We just go about our day and we just try to get through it, and we just try to manage, and you know, we get so busy, and sometimes we feel really stuck. Like, that's how I felt. I felt very stuck, and I just didn't know how to get out. So I just kind of was like, I have no other choice though, right? So I left everything that I behind, and I kind of just jumped off the deep end in another direction, which was a mission to find myself. And I'm such a much more secure person now. I think I had a lot of deep-seated insecurities before that I didn't realize, like, who am I without fighting, and who am I outside of this relationship, you know, because it had been so controlled in a way that I just didn't know, like, I didn't know who I was, right? So to answer your question about all that stuff and finding myself and asking myself those tough questions, right, and getting into a healthy place, yes, I look at myself and I'm just like, I cannot even believe that a year ago from today, you know, I was 1 month postpartum, and I was saying to myself, I want to fight again. And now I look at the transformation and I am blown away. You know, I'm not trying to like float my own boat or anything like that, but to be honest, I mean, it was hard at that point to imagine myself not just back to where I was at my best, but better than that. It's crazy. You know, I'm lighter than I've ever been. I'm stronger than I've ever been. And I'm truly more motivated, and I'm happy. I'm genuinely happy.
Last thing for me, to win a world title is obviously an incredible accomplishment. But to win a world title after a comeback, would that mean even more to you?
It would have to, right? I mean, the journey that I've been through to get to this point, starting a family, taking a break, doing all those things, being a mother, you know, I want to send a message loud and clear, you know, whether I become a champion again or not is sort of irrelevant to this point, but that we need to support mothers in their dreams and goals and ambition more as a society, because I think the expectation, and even I bought into this, I think there's old interviews that you can see of me, probably maybe when I fought Kat Zingano, because I was thinking how would I mentally fight, or how would I fight when I become a mother? Because I thought once you become a mother, like it's all about the kids. I genuinely bought into that narrative. And once you become a mother, it is all about the kids. But how you service your children is servicing yourself first. That's how I am the best mother. So that's how I came to this conclusion. So I want to lead with example. And if my goals of becoming a world champion again, I'm able to do that, which I see absolutely no reason why I can't. I won't put any limitations on myself or let anybody else do that. Then yes, it would be quite an amazing accomplishment. And I'll be happy and hope that I set a good example for my children.
Thank you. Welcome back.
Thank you.
Miesha, talking to people around the gym, they agree with what you're saying, is that you're in a better place mentally, better place physically, and this is as good as you've looked in a long, long time, obviously. But is there a danger to being in too good of a place and trying to fight when you don't have like the weight of the world on you?
Is there a danger of being in too good of a place?
Too good of a place, like you're like, why am I trying to hurt this person? Like I'm just in a great place. Like, I'm not,
right. I mean, sure, I think that there is, but I think that depends how you interpret that good place and what your goals really are. You know, I think if you're in a cushy place and you just feel like, you know, I don't really have to do this, but I kind of want. It's like, no, like I feel so motivated. Nobody is saying I have to do this. Nobody's telling me I should. Like this came from my heart and my will and my desire. So I don't see any detriment about me being in an emotionally fulfilled and stable place, because it has taken nothing away from my desire. If anything, it's fed it. So not in my situation.
And you know, you talked a little bit about not being on that card last week, being on this card instead, and away from the chaos. Have you thought about like how different the ring walk is going to be? You haven't really been in this environment of no fans, and like maybe if the emotion was there, if everybody's screaming and yelling while you're walking, it's different than walking into a cage in an empty environment.
Yeah, of course I've thought about it, but I do have experience from the Ultimate Fighter coaching. So I've, you know, been through and seen a number of fights that were in a closed venue, and you get that experience, right? I'm sure I wasn't the one fighting, but I'm emotionally invested, and I'm right there, and you get that feel of how it's different in a closed arena. And then I went to the Ige and Zombie fight here just to get the feels of what it looked like, how it ran, what it was like with the closed audience. But truthfully, I have zero doubt in my ability to show up and fight at any point. I think if you put me in the octagon and you put gloves on me and you say it's time to fight, it doesn't matter if it's in the middle of the night. It's what I was born to do.
And how much have you thought about the moment when you step in the cage on Saturday? It's been, you know, 5 years since it happened. Just like the between stepping in the cage and actually fighting. Because once the bell rings, it's a fight, and you know that. But that moment from stepping in the cage till the bell ringing, what is that going to be like for you, and how much have you kind of thought about that?
I visualize it, right, and I'll get like a visceral reaction. Even just you saying that, it's like I picture it in my mind, and I see it, and I feel the canvas. You know, I've sparred quite a bit at the UFC Performance Institute with the cage there and that canvas, and I've really visualized this. You guys can probably know I'm big on visualization, so I've seen that moment a lot of times, and it's just a charge. I just feel charged. I feel ready. I feel excited for victory, that it's 15 minutes or less away. And that's it. That's just how I envision that moment going. You know, she's going to be ready to come at me. I'm going to be ready to go at her. And that's what Saturday night's going to be all about.
And you talked about, you know, a year ago, a month out from your child being born and thinking like, okay, I'm going to do this. Like, was there one moment, though, where it went from I want to fight to, yep, I'm doing it, I'm fighting? Like, was there one particular moment, or was that a process?
There was a particular moment. I can't pinpoint exactly what in the time frame that it was, but I was pregnant when the idea, like very pregnant, when the idea first went through my mind, like, I think I want to fight again. And I blame it all on the pandemic, so there's always a silver lining to this, right? But I was like, I think I want to fight again. And it wasn't until the sport was completely voided out of my life that I really started to understand how much I missed it. And I think I was in denial about that for quite some time. And then I had my son, and I could not wait to just walk on a treadmill. Like, I literally, it was like that was the only thing I could do, but I was like, I'm going to do it. I'm going to get in shape, and I'm going to fight. And I was like, uh-oh. I was like, oh, man, this is real. Like, it didn't go away. It wasn't just pregnancy hormones. Like, this is, no, it was real, and I knew it at that point. So, I mean, I was a week or 10 days postpartum, and I was just walking on a treadmill thinking about fighting again, thinking about every step I take, I'm one step closer to getting to the point where I can compete again.
Thanks very much.
All right. Thank you, guys.
Let's see, getting the first UFC win under your belt, how important was that?
My last fight?
Yeah.
Yeah, I was very excited. This was my first knockout in the career. Yeah, so excited, and I think now we're gonna a lot better.
Yeah. What was the feeling like before that fight? Because your first fight didn't go your way. So when you step in the second one, you haven't lost very much. So was that a difficult emotional thing for you?
Yeah, now was very emotional. So happy. I don't think like my emotion because I running and I so happy. But this is my natural myself, you know. I gonna do like that every time.
Very nice. And you're back in just 3 months. Was it important for you to fight quickly?
Yeah, I like it. I like it fighting like regular, like 3 times in the year. My last fight was 3 months ago, and I feel really good. My body was really good. Okay, I resting 3 weeks, and I go back to prepare my next fight. Yeah, and I get big offer with Jeremy, and I can say no.
Very nice. Training at American Top Team, has that added to your game, or is it difficult because you've got to leave home to do it, right?
Yeah, I leave home because I'm from Poland. I have family in Poland. But yeah, I start my preparation this fight in my country, my family gym, Red Dragon, and another like 1 month ago I coming to ATT and I train under legendary Mike Brown, you know, and ATT Army, and so happy.
Very nice. You said Jeremy Stevens. So did that excite you as an opponent when they gave it to you?
Yeah, I worked very hard all my life. And I get amazing opportunity fight with him. I am so happy. Jeremy is big name in USA and UFC legend. You know, Jeremy had a lot of experience in here. Very tough guy. I think if I want this guy, for me, is big jump in the new level, and everybody in USA will know who I am.
I'm sure you saw his last fight with Drakkar Klose that didn't happen because of the face-off and the push. How are you going to approach the face-off on Friday? Do you stay away so you can fight, or do you maybe get in there and see what happens?
I like it, these things, you know. I am ready for everything. We can stay and, okay, smile, and we can go to war, you know, we can push. Whatever would happen, I am ready. In the face-off, in the fight, in the octagon.
Nice. Last thing for me, like you said, a big name, a big opportunity. You had a lot of success outside the UFC. How fast do you see yourself rising to the top in the UFC? Do you want to move quickly, or do you feel like you need to go kind of step by step?
My big goal is of course winning the belt, the lightweight division, of course. But this is, I think, I don't know when, but for sure I will be UFC champion in the future. But now I going to step by step. I winning to fight, next fight, I winning to fight. But what I say, if this Saturday, if I win the Jeremy, big jump, and I would like next opponent maybe top 20, top 15, you know, because I think I deserved it. That's it. Thank you so much.
Billy, obviously things didn't go your way last time you stepped in the cage. First UFC loss. I guess what did you take out of that one?
Yeah, John, you look so excited to say that. Yeah, it was a tough loss. But, I was on a 9-fight winning streak, including a pro boxing match. And it seemed like everything was going great. And then losing, it was a good wake-up call. It was a good thing that it gave me a chance to look back on my other training camps and kind of nitpick at what I was doing. And there was a lot of stuff that I was able to address and kind of correct. I've had 7 months since that fight, and you're going to see a new and improved Billy Q, and I can't wait.
Nice. Yeah, I was going to ask you about the time off, the 7 months. Was that by design? I mean, did you want to take a little time after the loss to work on things?
Yes and no. There was a few things I had to get done. I was cornering one of my teammates in Abu Dhabi in January, and then I was getting married in March. So I didn't really want to be in a training camp necessarily in that time frame. So that kind of started that off, and it's a good thing to do. I don't think it's great to rush into a fight after a loss, and especially having a fight that I could look back on and you got to work on this, you got to do this, you got to do this. I think it was a good thing, and I think it was like I said, you're going to see a whole new competitor in there. And I did come off a loss, but I still got to look at, I've been pretty successful in the UFC so far. And to be 4-1 after this fight, 3 finishes is what I'm going for. And I'll still be proud of that after this fight.
I was going to say, is there almost a danger? Because you're right. I mean, the losses are great because it does force you to analyze things. But is there also a danger in going like, hey, we don't need to get away from everything? Like some things were going really well.
Of course. And, like I was saying, when you're winning like that, it was almost to the point where I was taking fights quickly. Right after the Kyle Nelson fight, Gavin Tucker mentioned me again. I was like, all right, let's do it. And I only had like a 6-week training camp for that. I wasn't in the best of shape when training camp started. Not to make excuses. He whooped my butt that day. But now that I've had a lot of time to get ready for this fight. Even I was supposed to fight Herbert Burns, and they still gave me another 5 or 6 weeks to get ready for Benitez. So it's been just a great training camp. I started off training camp probably in the best shape that I've ever been in, and right now I'm definitely in the best shape that I've ever gone into a fight.
Nice. Change of opponent, like you said, like plenty of time to prepare. But the change, did you like the matchup more? Did you like the other one before? I mean, did it change anything in terms of like your excitement level for it?
I just think I think stylistically they're completely different. Benitez being a lefty striker, boxer, and Herbert Burns is a right-handed guy who just wants to get the fight to the floor. Stylistically, I think they're completely different. But for me, basically, whoever the UFC gave me, I was going to fight. The excitement level, I think, is a little bit more. I definitely got a little more excited for this fight just because I think it has the potential to be a fight of the night. Obviously, I would rather take a performance of the night, go out there and take him out and get the win. But I think Herbert is more of a ground specialist. He wants to get the fight to the ground. Fans don't always enjoy that as much, where Benitez, I think I'm going to have my option whether I want to strike them, if I want to take it to the floor, and he's usually pretty exciting. He's a high-level striker. He puts on a show. He wants to keep it on the feet. I definitely know that, and I think it has a more excitement level for the fans.
Yeah. Any concerns at all about him making weight, or can you let yourself think about that?
It's not really a concern, but it's something obviously to think about. His last fight, I think he missed weight by like 4 or 5 pounds, which is a pretty big deal. We got to make a decision as a team if he does miss weight, if we're going to take the fight, which I hate saying no. So, we most likely will, unless it's like that again. If it's by that much, who knows? But, that's on him. We just got to make sure. My team we got to make sure we're doing everything right, making sure our weight comes off good. And I've never missed weight before, so I don't think it's going to be an issue for us.
Not to spend too much time on it, but it's funny because, right, I think it was so unique because people don't normally turn down fights because exactly that. Like, nobody wants to turn it down, right? But do you think it's something people should consider more of? I mean, if a guy's 4 or 5 pounds over, that's pretty significant.
Yeah, and I don't know exactly the numbers. I saw someone on Twitter mention it after this last fight that they said – I don't know the exact numbers, but they said most of the time the person that misses weight usually wins the fight, and it's probably not coincidental. So it is interesting because we put this whole work, all this work into this whole training camp. I can't believe someone could come in that much overweight. Like, I'll do whatever it takes to make weight and at least get a little bit closer. So I don't know what his issues were last fight, but I'm sure he's been thinking about it a lot for this fight. So I don't think he's going to have an issue with it. But if he does, we'll cross that road when we get there.
Nice. Win here. What's the plan? I mean, like you said, you took some time off, had some great things in life. But do you feel like you need to make up for lost time or stay busy? What's the plan?
I definitely want to fight again at least one more time this year. My wife, who I got married to in March, we have a honeymoon planned next week. So we're going to the Virgin Islands next week and have a nice little vacation. And then after this, since this is my 5th fight at the Apex, I'll fight whoever, do whatever I can do to fight on U.S. soil with fans. So I'm definitely eyeing that November card at Madison Square Garden. That would be a dream come true. Growing up in Buffalo, that was always a huge venue. But if they want me to fight sooner, I could probably be ready sooner, depending on how this fight goes. Getting all banged up. So really, the biggest goal for me is just to fight with fans. Since I grew up watching the UFC, having fans there has always been a goal, and to have 5 fights in the Apex, it's just been pretty crazy.
Nice. Last thing for me, you said I think a lot of people will have this one circled as potential fight of the night. So when you play this one out in your head, I'm sure you'd like to go, throw one punch and be done. But what kind of fight do you think we're going to see?
Yeah, I think we're both gonna be pretty banged up after this one. He's a super aggressive fighter. He's hard to take out. I'm super hard to take out too. I've only been finished once, and it seems like every fight he's in, he comes out throwing super aggressive. So you're gonna see that from me too. I'm trying to take his head off early, trying to hurt him first, and I definitely just see one of those, bang out fights where we're both throwing bombs at each other. And I can see it going in later rounds, but I'm definitely looking for that early finish. If he gets too aggressive, I definitely can see myself taking him out early.
Hey, Billy.
Hey, what's up, Amy? How are you?
Got a question for you.
Awesome.
When you have an opponent change, do you change up your game plan, or are you one that has a game plan for no matter the opponent?
Yeah. Well, we kind of had to switch up the game plan a little bit for this fight, just because stylistically, both guys are so different. Herbert Burns just wants to take you, right to the ground. So I actually enjoyed the training camp because the first half of it, we were doing a ton of wrestling, ton of jiu-jitsu. We were doing some striking. And then when the opponent changed, we're doing a lot more, striking, getting prepared for that southpaw. So we really worked everything. You're always working a little bit of everything, but to really focus in on first grappling and then a lot more striking, defense and offense, it definitely changes things up a little bit.
And we've seen an increase in the bone breaks just last weekend. As a fighter, when you're watching that kind of stuff, do you hesitate and go, what am I doing here? Why am I doing this?
Oh, man, yeah, it's definitely, this year has been pretty crazy with MMA injuries. I saw on a local show a guy his finger broke off completely and got severed. And then you see all these leg breaks. It's just a reminder that anything can happen in there. But no, I'm still gonna, it's still a fight. You get all your weapons. I like to use kicks. I like to throw punches. I like kicks too. So yes and no. It's a good reminder that anything could happen in there. But at the end of the day, when that bell rings, I'm still gonna try to use all my weapons to win the fight.
My last one for you. You mentioned on, I believe, Instagram that you want to be on the SportsCenter top 5. What are you going to do to get on the top 5?
Great question. Really, my whole style has always been be as exciting as possible. I understand that, like I said, I grew up watching the UFC. I loved exciting fights. You obviously can tell the difference between an exciting fight and a boring fight. I've always wanted to be one of those guys that you're like, oh man, Billy Q's fighting. It's going to be, turn your TV on, turn the volume up. It's going to be an exciting fight. So I think just with my style, I'm going to go out there and do what I've always tried to do and put an exciting show. It does feel a lot different at the quiet, and it feels a little bit more like a with the really get going. I can still use that, and I can put on an exciting fight at the Apex. I've had a few good ones already, and just fighting my style, I think we'll get that top 5, SportsCenter top 5, because I got number 6 last time. All right, thank you guys, appreciate you. Thanks, Amy. Thanks, John.
Charlie said he